If the Lion King saga were a reality show, it would be one of those high-stakes, drama-filled series where betrayal, forbidden love, and vengeance fuel every episode. The Bachelor, Pridelands edition, if you will. At the heart of this drama is the love story between Kiara and Kovu, two lions who, by all accounts, should have never been together. Their future was almost obliterated before it even had a chance, thanks to generational grudges, personal vendettas, and one very angry lioness with a serious Scar obsession.
What is your destiny?
I will avenge Scar. Take his place in the Pride Lands.
Yes. What have I taught you?
So what is the real reason why Kiara and Kovu's future was almost destroyed? Scar. If there were a Hall of Fame for Disney villains who took pettiness to an Olympic level, he'd be the gold medalist. This guy didn't just want power, he wanted it with an extra side of misery for everyone around him. Scar overthrew Mufasa, his own brother, in what was basically the most infamous case of regicide in Disney history. And from there, things only got worse. He wasn't exactly a lead-by-example type of ruler. Instead, he turned the Pride Lands into a barren wasteland, running it with all the grace of a broken vending machine. No food, no water, just bad vibes all around. By the time Simba returned to reclaim the throne, the Pride Lands were a full-blown disaster zone, and Scar's reign ended in flames, literally. But even after his dramatic defeat, Scar's influence didn't just disappear. Enter Zira, the true MVP of holding a grudge. Zira and her followers, a group of lions still loyal to Scar, because apparently they love dictatorship and starvation, were banished from the Pride Lands. And just like that, the outsiders were born. An exiled pride filled with lions who had one goal: revenge.
When I think of what that brute did, I get a little tense.
With Scar out of the picture, Simba stepped up as king, ready to fix the mess left behind. He restored order, brought back food, and basically turned the Pride Lands into a 5-star savannah resort compared to what Scar left behind. But while Simba was a strong leader, he was also a lion carrying some major baggage, being exiled as a cub, losing his father in the most traumatic way possible, and then returning home to find Scar treating the kingdom like his personal dumpster fire. Yeah, Simba wasn't exactly gonna be throwing trust around like confetti. This especially applied to his daughter, Kiara. From the moment she was born, Simba wasn't just a protective dad. He was on full-time security detail. His paranoia was so intense that he had Timon and Pumbaa tailing Kiara like undercover agents. And can you blame him? The last time he underestimated someone with Scar's DNA, it almost cost him everything. So when Kovu, the literal chosen one of the outsiders, waltzed into the picture looking like a younger, sleeker version of Scar, Simba's danger alarms went off at full volume. Before love, before war, before the whole Romeo and Juliet situation took over, there was a simple meeting between two cubs in the Outlands.
My name's Kovu. I'm Kiara.
Kiara, ever the rebellious free spirit, wandered off during one of her little adventures, as she did, and that's when she met Kovu. They were kids, just two young lions, unaware that their family histories were like oil and fire. For them, there was no Scar, no Simba, no exiles, just two cubs who had an instant connection. They played, they laughed, and they probably would have become best friends if it weren't for the inconvenient fact that their families absolutely hated each other. Their innocent little moment was cut short when Simba showed up, looking very unimpressed, and Zira followed soon after, her villainous glare practically radiating through the screen. That was the moment when it became crystal clear. This wasn't just a simple case of, my parents don't like your parents. This was a full-scale generational war. Simba had one rule when it came to Kiara: stay away from the outsiders. Not be careful, not don't talk to strangers, but a full-blown do not interact policy. But telling a Disney protagonist not to do something is like daring them to do it immediately. So naturally, Kiara and Kovu found their way back to each other years later. Meanwhile, Zira, being the master manipulator that she was, saw an opportunity. Instead of letting Kovu and Kiara's connection fade, she weaponized it. She trained Kovu to be the ultimate Simba assassin.
Good night, my little prince. Tomorrow your training intensifies.
Planting the idea that gaining Kiara's trust was his golden ticket to getting close enough to take down the king. This wasn't just a forbidden romance. It was a full-fledged Trojan horse strategy. Zira was basically the lion version of a crime boss, and Kovu, he was her star recruit. She raised him to be Scar's successor, drilled revenge into his brain from day one, and molded him into the perfect instrument of destruction. Kovu had no say in the matter. His entire existence revolved around getting revenge for a lion he barely even knew.
You are ready. Nice. Very nice. You have the same blackness in your soul that Scar had.
But here's when things got messy. Kovu wasn't Scar. He wasn't Zira. He wasn't even particularly bloodthirsty. The more time he spent with Kiara, the more cracks started forming in his fearless assassin act. He didn't want to be a killer. He didn't want to betray Kiara. He just wanted to be a lion who wasn't constantly caught in the middle of a war he never signed up for.
What's wrong? Kovu.
It's just that my whole life I've been trained to... nothing.
Even with Kovu's doubts growing, Zira had no intention of calling off her master plan. The moment arrived. Kovu was in Simba's good graces, and it was time to strike. The plan? Lure Simba into an ambush and take him out once and for all. But like most evil plans, things didn't go exactly as expected. The ambush failed spectacularly. Simba fought back. Chaos erupted, and in the middle of it all, Zira's other son, Nuka, met a crushing, literally, fate.
Luke, I'm sorry, Mother. I tried.
Now, Nuka wasn't exactly the brightest crayon in the box, but he had one goal in life: to prove himself worthy of Zira's love. And just when he thought he had, he ended up crushed under a pile of logs. Zira, of course, didn't see this as a tragic accident. Nope, she saw it as Kovu's fault. Her golden child had hesitated, and because of that, Nuka was gone. Instead of comforting Kovu, Zira did what toxic parents do best: blame him and cast him out. And just like that, Kovu found himself exiled, alone, and more confused than ever about where he truly belonged. If there's one thing Disney loves, it's hitting us with emotional whiplash. Just when it seemed like Kiara and Kovu were on the verge of a fairy tale ending, the universe, aka Simba and an extremely dramatic war between lions, decided to throw in some last-minute chaos. Because what's a Lion King story without at least one character getting unfairly exiled, a full-scale battle, and a villain who refuses to take "maybe we don't need revenge" as an answer? Simba was many things: brave, noble, and a lion who really needed to work on his trust issues. When Kovu showed up at Pride Rock after the ambush looking like he had something to do with it, even though he totally didn't, Simba's paranoia shot through the roof. This was the moment Simba had been dreading since day one. A lion from Scar's bloodline had gotten close to his daughter, and now suddenly, an assassination attempt happened? To Simba, the math was mathing, and it all pointed to one obvious conclusion: Kovu had betrayed them. Now, did Simba pause for a second to consider that maybe Kovu was innocent? Nope. Did he give him a chance to explain? Not really. Instead, he immediately hit him with the most dramatic punishment available: exile. Because if there's one thing Simba knows how to do, it's kicking people out of the kingdom like it's a reality show elimination round.
When you first came here, you asked for judgment. And I pass it now. Exile!
Kovu, for his part, was not expecting this. One minute, he's vibing with Kiara, slowly realizing he doesn't want to be Scar 2.0, and the next, he's getting chucked out of the Pride Lands like expired milk. And just like that, everything he'd built with Kiara, every ounce of progress he made in breaking free from Zira's influence, was ripped away. Now, here's where Kiara proves she's not just some princess waiting around for fate to sort itself out. The moment Kovu gets exiled, she's heartbroken. This isn't just some guy she had a crush on. This is her lion, the one who saw her, understood her, and made her feel like more than just Simba's daughter. And now, thanks to her father's stubbornness, he was gone. But Kiara wasn't about to sit back and let her dad's paranoia ruin everything. While Simba was busy brooding and assuming he'd save the day, Kiara pulled the ultimate teenage rebellion move. She ran away.
And I must follow in my father's.
You will never be Mufasa!
And not in a reckless, I'm just mad, leave me alone kind of way. She left with a purpose. She was going to find Kovu, and she was going to fix this mess herself. Because, let's be real, Simba had officially lost his decision-making privileges. While Kiara was out searching for Kovu, things in the Pride Lands escalated from mild tension to full-scale war in record time. Zira, fueled by an unhealthy mix of revenge and pure stubbornness, saw Kimba's exile of Kovu as the perfect excuse to finally go all in. The outsiders stormed the Pride Lands, teeth bared, claws out, ready to settle the Scar versus Simba feud once and for all. The battle itself was pure chaos. Lions were tackling each other, roaring like it was an Olympic event. And at one point, it genuinely seemed like neither side was gonna back down. This was not just a fight, it was years of anger, loss, and generational bitterness exploding all at once. And then, just when it seemed like all hope was lost, Kiara and Kovu showed up like the ultimate power couple, ready to shut it all down. Kiara didn't just talk the talk, she roared it. She stood in front of her father and the feuding lions and dropped the truth bomb of the century.
A wise king once told me, we are one.
But they...
Them? Us. Look at them. What differences do you see?
This war wasn't about justice. It was about pride, and not the cool, majestic kind, just stubborn, useless pride. She reminded everyone that Scar was gone, and that the past couldn't be changed, and that they were all lions, one species, one pride. Kovu backed her up, proving that he wasn't Scar's legacy, he was his own lion. And miraculously, some of the outsiders started to listen. They realized that maybe, just maybe, Zira's whole revenge until we die thing wasn't actually the best life strategy. But of course, Zira wasn't about to go down with a simple group hug and an I forgive you speech. While the other lions began to see reason, Zira refused to let go of her grudge. She lunged at Simba, still determined to take him out. And when that failed, she tried to take Kiara down with her.
Sarah, give me your paw. I'll help you.
But Kiara wasn't about to be anyone's collateral damage. The two of them tumbled down a steep cliff, mirroring the exact moment that led to Scar's downfall all those years ago. But here's the kicker. Kiara offered Zira her paw. She tried to save her. Zira, however, was so committed to being the villain that she literally let herself fall rather than accept help from the daughter of her enemy. And just like that, the war was over. The outsiders, finally free from Zira's obsessive grip, let go of their hatred. The two prides reunited, and for the first time in forever, the cycle of revenge was finally broken. At its core, this entire story was about prejudice, how deep it runs, how dangerous it can be, and how hard it is to break it. Simba's initial hatred of Kovu wasn't really about Kovu. It was about Scar. It was about the past. It was about fear. Likewise, the outsiders weren't born villains. They were raised to believe that the Pride Landers were their enemies, that they had to seek revenge, that they couldn't let go of the past. But as Kiara proved, there is always another option. Prejudice isn't permanent. It can be unlearned, and wounds, no matter how deep, can heal. Let's be honest, Kiara and Kovu weren't just cute. They were revolutionary. Their love wasn't just about romance, it was about breaking cycles. They proved that history doesn't have to dictate the future, that love can bridge even the deepest divides. Their relationship forced both sides to question their own beliefs. If an outsider and a Pride Lander could love each other, could trust each other, what did that mean for the war? It meant it was pointless. It meant it was time to move forward. And that's exactly what they did. Thanks to Kiara and Kovu, the two prides united. Scar's toxic legacy was finally put to rest, and the Pride Lands had a future built on peace, not vengeance. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.